Welcome to my video about the creation of my music composition, The Arabic Dancer. In this first segment was the initial point of transformation that relates to the song. So we see blue butterflies emerging slowly from the darkness. Soft, sacred geometry begins forming in the background, and there's a deep ambient atmosphere, but that is because the main character, who is the Arabic dancer, visually, who's reflecting the music, is coming out as a butterfly. So this is representative of her. I found myself thinking about transformation as I was composing the song. I imagined blue butterflies and visualized how they began life as caterpillars, slowly transforming into something entirely different. And I started thinking about change itself. Sometimes change is self-imposed, but often life suddenly changes direction without warning. And I've found over the years, I've come to realize that the only thing in life that is truly consistent is change. One chapter quietly closes while another waits somewhere beyond the horizon, still hidden from view. And sometimes, during those moments between who we once were and who we are becoming, we feel lost, like we're standing in the darkness, waiting to discover ourselves again. That was the emotional beginning of this composition, The Arabic Dancer. This is about the cocoon and how it relates to the Arabic dancer composition. A few weeks ago, I attended a live with Najia, my teacher that I work with. She's a very talented, intuitive teacher. And she was talking to everyone that was there about how butterflies go through a change. And it all starts as a caterpillar, and then they develop into a cocoon. In this case, the Arabic dancer is in the same stage as the caterpillar. You'll notice that she's hidden in shadow with minimal movement, but the imagery is meant to imply a cocoon, a metamorphosis stage where she's waiting to transition. She's just barely learning how to dance. And so there's always that fear of wanting to do everything right. It's that way with music, it's that way with art. It's that way with everything. There's always a point. It was that way for me with learning about intuition. When I first started learning about chakras, I didn't know anything about them. I was like a little kid that was learning something new, and I was in need to have instruction, and I learned a lot by watching other people. But I started out not knowing anything, and I started from there. So that's the case with this Arabic dancer that's trying to learn to dance. When I created the Arabic dancer composition, I was reflecting back on a very difficult time in my life after my divorce. Everything had changed. The life I once knew was gone, and standing before me was something both frightening and unfamiliar, a completely new beginning. There is fear in moments like that. We just talked about that. Anything new has fear because you don't know, it's the unknown. Because when life removes what is familiar, you're stared, looking at the unknown. But the transformation often brings us exactly there to that situation. The uncertainty, the silence, and we enter the cocoon stage. Well, when you're in that stage, when you're starting out and everything's new, the best thing you can do is to get experience. Get your hands dirty. If it's making clay pots, throw some clay on the spinning wheel and make some pottery. As you do that, then you'll gain more confidence. That's what this whole next segment is about. The metaphor of the dancer. So at this point, the dancer's beginning, she's practicing. Begins with subtle movements, more visible now, soft candlelight and Egyptian ambience. Every stage, she brings sacred geometry into herself, which actually helps her as she's learning this new skill. In my mind, the Arabic dancer became a metaphor for transformation. At the beginning, the Arabic dancer composition, she's uncertain, still learning, and still searching. The melody itself reflects that feeling. The melody within the Arabic dancer begins more simply, more carefully, almost like someone taking their very first steps into an unfamiliar world. And in many ways, that was me before, when I was just divorced and I had to start a new life. So it was at this point that I reflected back to a conversation that I had with Najia in one of the learning sessions we had in psychic development. And in this scene, I'm showing the situation of Najia and I talking together. And we're sitting in a softly lit restaurant eating a vegetarian dinner with warm golden lighting, and it's a calm atmosphere. There's a subtle ambience of sacred geometry, and it's just a nice environment, so we're talking to each other. So as I learned more from my friend and teacher Najia, who's also a really talented dancer, I began understanding that true dance was not really about memorizing steps. She pointed this out to me. I remember sitting with her one evening as we talked about dance and creativity, and I asked her if dancing was about becoming one with the music, and she told me, no, it's something more. She explained that true dance comes from reaching deeply into yourself, into the soul, and allowing something higher to emerge through you, almost like channeling. And suddenly I understood something profound. The greatest art does not come only from technique. Technique's important, but technique alone cannot create transcendence. And I realized the same thing was happening inside the Arabic dancer music composition. The melody was beginning to come from somewhere deeper, somewhere spiritual, somewhere emotional, somewhere beyond conscious thought. And there were these counter melodies that began to appear in the music, and there was this complexity that began to appear in the music. The simple melody was the underlying layer, but the music was becoming much more sophisticated as I reached out into this channeling world and began to bring in my higher self within me, and I started to see these complexities begin to appear through my hands on the keyboard into the song. When you're using the sacred geometry, when you're using the channeling, where the creativity comes in through you, sometimes it takes over and it will guide you softly into a new direction or an understanding. And so in this image, the sacred geometry is surrounding the dancer, and that makes her dance skill expand dramatically. She's able to expand through flow and through movement and through the cosmic energy that comes through her. And her dancing increases in complexity and intensity. That idea changed the way I thought about creativity itself. The idea of what Najia had told me about how channeling impacts her dance. And I realized the same thing was happening inside the Arabic dancer composition. A person can technically play every correct note and still never touch the soul. But when emotion and experience and pain and hope appear in the music or the creativity, and transformation begins flowing through the Arabic dancer composition, and it becomes something unique of its own. Something changes. The Arabic dancer composition itself begins to breathe. It begins to live. It begins to take upon itself a life of its own, and it begins to become something unique. And that is what started happening when I created this song. It was metamorphosizing into something beautiful. So it's at this point that when you start bringing in that channeling and that creative inspiration, and you start doing it consistently, the flow of that creativity begins to make you transform. And I've noticed this in my writing, because I am a writer. I've noticed it in my music. I'm a composer. And I've noticed it in my artwork because I'm an artist. And you know where else I've noticed it? In my videos. Because as I create videos and I let this creative flow come within me, my videos become more visually interesting. They become more visually creative in a way that enlightens people. And I start getting comments about, that video really made a difference. And I start making a difference in other people's lives, which is what I want to do. So in this scene, the dancer becomes fully illuminated now. As she dances on her practice floor, the fabric flows and she experiences dynamic movement, but she is dancing for the love of dancing. And the flow of energy and knowledge and creativity within her makes her do things that she could never do on her own. She begins to have blue butterflies appear to her, which are the symbol of creativity and intuitional knowledge. As the Arabic dancer composition progresses, The melody becomes more fluid, more complex, more expressive. The dancer is no longer simply performing movements. She becomes the dance itself. And that was that's symbolic of my own life, because after about a year, I slowly began discovering who I truly was after I had been divorced. The fear began to fade, and the confusion also began to fade, and something new began emerging from within me, like a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. Anyone that knows me, all of the people I work with, all of my friends, all of the people that I learn with and I study with, they all learn one important thing about me. I am the kind of person that doesn't live within the norms. I am the kind of person that likes to expand my mind with out-of-the-box thinking. I love surreal imagery. I love sacred geometry. I love Egyptian symbolism, which is something that has come to me recently. Even while creating the imagery surrounding the Arabic dancer, and I am creating images, whether I be doing it with a paintbrush or through AI, digital imagery, or through art itself, creating something. Also, when I'm creating notes, I'm creating imagery in the notes. Even while creating the imagery surrounding the Arabic dancer, I never wanted to create something ordinary. I wanted drama. I wanted adventure. I wanted emotion. I wanted mystery. I wanted the visuals of the music that the listener thought of to feel like an extension of the composition itself, something larger than everyday life, because transformation itself feels larger than life when you're experiencing it. And these images that were created through the music of the Arabic dancer composition became expressions of that deeper vision that I felt within myself. This is about the butterflies, and it's really important. As I'm creating this video, it's not just about the song, the composition of the Arabic dancer. I'm trying to share with you some important concepts about intuition and how we attain knowledge. And one of these is the blue butterfly. So when I created this image, I wanted to have some blue butterflies in the image, because the blue butterflies are about transformational energy, and it was important for me to portray that in the imagery that was talking about how it's also portrayed in the music. But when I'm creating something visually, it's much easier to show you what I'm feeling than it is through the music. The music, I can give it to a certain degree, but it doesn't have the same feeling or ability to express the images out to help you understand the graphics do, the images that I create. So I'm able to do both in these videos. Over time, the Arabic dancer became much more than a dancer in my mind. She became a symbol of transformation itself, a soul awakening, a higher self emerging, a butterfly stage of life. The moment when uncertainty transforms into expression, when fear transforms into beauty. Notice what I'm saying. That fear that I had after the divorce transformed into beautiful music creations. It transformed recently into beautiful digital imagery. And as I'm transforming and making these creations, I'm helping I'm when I do the creativity, it's taking me up to a higher level in frequency. When the soul finally begins speaking through the Arabic dancer itself, then the song itself is such that as one listens to it, my goal is to help them through listening to the music that they will be able to be raised up to a higher frequency. So we are at the final reflection of the video, and this is where the dancer has fully gone through the changes. She no longer needs to learn to do the dance. Now she does the dance, and it not only transforms her when she's doing it, but it transforms all of those people listening to it around her. The dancer slowly dissolves into cosmic stars and sacred geometry. The Arabic dancer is deeply personal to me because it reflects a real journey within my life. A journey through loss, through uncertainty, through rediscovery, and ultimately through transformation. And perhaps all meaningful compositions come from moments like these. Moments when life changes us forever. Moments when we step into the unknown and slowly discover who we truly are. Because life is not about surviving change, it's about becoming something beautiful through it. And maybe that is what the Arabic dancer is all about. It's trying to teach us all along that we are beautiful and that we can become something beautiful. Don't allow someone to ever take that away from you. You are beautiful, and don't ever allow someone else to make or try to make you feel different, because you are much better than that. Sometimes the soul must enter a cocoon before it can remember it was meant to fly. I'm going to end this video playing the song for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you on the next one.